2 of these storage boxes. Okay, so there's the other one. And yeah, they alternated plastic and rubber. I suppose I'm gonna need both. Be working with the last of the oil that's in its buffer. So I'm going to turn this back on. Because now I know what to do with the heavy oil residue. I mean, I suppose I could... I think the original idea was to convert it into fuel and use the fuel. But I have no idea how long this is going to stay on when it's after it is on. I mean, if the storage boxes get backed up, then the whole thing shuts down, and if the whole thing shuts down, then so does the power, which is why I can't really rely on it for power. I mean, I suppose I do that with the power I have now, but that's only because there are a few more extra steps and a lot more extra storage space. And then there's ENIAC. It takes long enough to fill up an industrial storage buffer with computers so that it's more or less safe, but I do have to periodically check. Is it actually working? I mean, are they getting crude oil or no? It looks like they are. So yeah, I'm actually making both rubber and plastic as opposed to waiting for it to accumulate in the power plant. Speaking of power plants though, as long as I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go to ENIAC and see how many computers I got. So how many Trigons do I... Ooh! Look at all that. I'll take all of them just for the sake of having them and distributing them among the milestones, because I think the Trigons were the last thing I needed for that one milestone with the conveyor belts. Quantum encoding, well, that'll satisfy the, shall we say, alien requirements. And all I gotta do now is focus on the human ones. The supercomputers, the turbo motors. Okay, so these Trigons. This one needs 500 of them. I can swing that easy. This one doesn't need any, although I really should get those fluctuators. And this one needs 250, and it's ready to go. Milestone reached. After close scrutiny, 2 problems were identified in Mark V conveyor belts. The first was the belt part, so force fields have been implemented on the Mark VI instead to maximize transfer speeds. The second problem is inefficient pioneers, but sadly, no remedy is available for this severe impediment. Yet. Am I going to be replaced by a robot or something? Because if that's the case, I am not going down that easy. Alright, let's see. Mark 6, 1,200 resources a minute. Takes Trigons and time crystals. Boy, am I glad I stored some of those. I can't really see a use case for either of these, but I've been surprised like this before. there being other things. Maybe not buildings, but other things. Don't see anything available here, though. That means I gotta hammer out more containers. Fixonium fuel rod for nuclear power plants, and fixonium itself. Huh. Fixonium. So I guess these two are if I want to use them in nuclear power plants. You know, I'm going to need a lot of radio control units. There's so much in this phase that needs them. So, since aluminum is the ingredient that I need the most of when making radio control units, I'm thinking that perhaps I might want to install, start making them up here, install a manufacturer here, instead of using the field manufacturer. Now, the field manufacturer I think I can use to make turbo motors, but not radio control units, not with my needing so many of them. I mean, I have around 100 of them now. Not really sure, but there we go. All right. Cut this down to make room for conveyor belts. And put the manufacturer itself down. Well, wherever it'll go, but I guess that's here. Program this to make radio control units. Takes 40 a minute aluminum casing, so I should be fine with a regular conveyor belts. And the other two ingredients, I can just put in boxes and periodically resupply them. I mean, aluminum is what we need the most of when making radio control units. That's why I've got it connected directly to the factory. There we go, get this out of the way. Okay, and I suppose I can put the box like right here. And the box for the other thing it needs, on top of the first one, there. Give one of those the computers, and the other the oscillators. Now this current supply should be good for about 230, I think, radio control units. provided, of course, that the aluminum is continuously supplied. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. Wait a second, this thing isn't powered, so let me just put another box for the output. Imagine that the amount of radio control units that I need for this phase shouldn't be so much that it fills up an entire regular-sized box. Where would I put this thing? Okay, it's not the most artful solution in the world, but it works. Now, power line. I can connect it right here. And just to get things going, I should have enough power to afford this. I ran it like that before. I think the one thing I'm not going to use Summers loops on it. Those are only for project parts. But anyway, yeah, that should help. I have to come up here periodically to check on how this is doing, and also to empty this thing out. I mean, there are other things you can use aluminum ingots for besides casings. That's another thing I'm doing, cooling systems. So I'm not so sure how many of those I'll need. I can't take the whole thing with me right now, but is this thing not equalizing the production rate here? I mean, let me see. It seems to be flowing pretty well. Is this constructor putting them in at 90 a minute? 135 a minute. Oh wait, it's because there's 3 of these. Yeah, I did the math right here. I think the only reason everything's stopping is because every now and again, well, when this box fills up, and it will, even with this thing running at full tilt, 100 a minute. Actually, I think it's going to run out because this thing puts out 90 a minute. Okay, well, I'll fix that. There. Now it's only going to... It'll build up like 10 a minute in that box, but I need aluminum casings for other things. So that should work out. Okay, and speaking of things that are going to fill up, I also need to check on the experimental plant at Frater Lake, because the rubber and plastic, it should take like an hour to fill up, but I'm not exactly sure if how much of that time has passed. Oh, and also I gotta calibrate the field manufacturer for turbo motors, and that means I'm gonna have to I'm going to need rubber anyway, and cooling systems. My dance card sure is full. Ooh, looks like I'm pretty close to being just in time, so I'm going to take... Oh. There's these boxes where they're placed. There we go. Take all these, And then I'm gonna have to go over to ENIAC, not because of computers actually, but because I need fuel. And there was that like experimental fuel-related project to make rocket fuel. Well, I need to I think I need to refuel the drone, the one that's shifting, or sorry, the one that's shipping reanimated strange alien matter over to the Trigon factory. Where did I put that thing? I just sort of made it up as I went along here. But this is what I needed those bottles for. I'm going to amp up the speed here. And then once I've got all those bottles filled, which shouldn't take quite so long, I'm going to head... Well, I got to go back to Hub Central and drop off the rubber in the turbo motor setup that I built. I gave it a big box instead of just a regular one. Then the plastic has to go to supercomputers, which I have 150 of right now. Oh, and I've also got to take some copper sheeting over to the coolant factory because, well, I need that. I need those for turbo motors too. I also calculated how much it'll take to make the biochemical sculptors. If I were to use Summers loops in production, I should only need 125 assembly director systems. Now those are made in pairs if you use Summers loops. So I'll round that up to 126. And those require, well, more supercomputers, but 126 adaptive control units. The adaptive control units require, where did I put this? 305 automated wiring. And automated wiring requires 153 stators and 3,060 cable. I think a lot of that stuff I should be able to swing right now. Even the supercomputers, there's only 63 of them, and I have 150. So, I plan on doing that, at least when I get the rest of this worked out. Because another thing I need to make the biochemical sculptors is fixite. I need like 80,000 trigons of it. Where's it 80,000 trigons? It's like 80 fixite per... No, only 10,000. Which, as you'll recall, is a little bit over a full big box. Of course, to make fixite trigons, I have to keep the drones fueled. It's something of a bugaboo as far bugbear. I forget what the term is. It just sounds funny. About using drones and other things that consume fuel. Now, in theory, you know, it's funny. I could use like a radium fuel rod, but well, first off, it contains a roving radioactive area, and what are the points? I'd have to play hot potato with it, you know, run through all those these things, iodine-infused filters. Because if you're hanging on to a radioactive fuel source, they go through those like water, you know. And it's kind of a long trip, even with the hypertubes. So I'd rather not use radioactive sources for drone fuel, no matter how slowly they burn through them.